Do you want to put your service dog's task training on autopilot? Increase the accuracy of your timing? Make it easier for you to dispense treats to your dog without having to fumble through your treat pouch? And do all of that for a relatively affordable price? Yeah, I'm just as excited as you are. Now, I've used food dispensing machines for a long time for things like distance behaviors, for training a dog to settle while I worked with another dog, and even for teaching directional cues like in herding. But they were always cost prohibitive for my clients, ranging from $170 to around $400. But when my friend Casey mentioned this product, my wheels started spinning and I started thinking of so many uses within the service dog industry. So I ordered it, and once I got it and got to use it myself, I had to share it immediately with you all. Now, I want to be really clear that this is not a sponsored review and that I spent my own money on this product. I'm just really excited about how this might be able to make your task training easier, make it easier for you to dispense treats to your dog if you have mobility issues, and even provide exercise to your dog on those days that you're just running out of spoons. Plus, it comes in really fun colors, and I think you can tell from my nails and my hair and my wall that I am a huge fan of bright colors. So what exactly is this product? It's basically a food robot. So you put food in, you click a button that looks like this, and food is going to come out for your dog. Now, it's marketed as an IQ pet training treat dispenser as a way to just exercise your dog, but there are so many other things that we can train with it, so I'm gonna show you that today. So why do I like this particular food robot? First is that it's affordable. I spent $58 on the entire kit, and then you also just have to purchase batteries, so maybe $60 for the entire thing. It's also really easy to load with treats. Now, it comes with this little scoop for you to use. However, if you have any dexterity or mobility issues getting it in there, you can actually just roll up a piece of paper and use it as a funnel and funnel the food in that way. You can also set the treat dispensing level, so a lot comes out or a little comes out. When I'm training, I just want a little bit to come out. It's also pretty easy to carry and super lightweight, and you can plug it in or use batteries. It also solves a problem that I get asked frequently, which is they don't want to throw food on the floor for their dog when they're training as like a reset cookie, because they think that it will cause scavenging in their dog, which it doesn't, because when you put eating on cue, it actually decreases scavenging, but that's probably a topic for another video. So anyways, if you don't want to throw food on the floor, you can use this as an alternative. Okay, so how are we gonna use it? First, let's talk about task training and why I think this could revolutionize people's training, especially if they're struggling with target training. First, it eliminates the need for you to have good timing. Whether you're just developing your skills or you struggle with manipulating something like a clicker or you're nonverbal, this can create excellent timing because as soon as the dog presses the button, it emits an audible tone and then the food comes out. So the timing is perfect. Now, it also comes with this suction cup, which you can pop the button right onto, which is gonna be so handy when we start talking about the tasks. So it works perfectly. You can push it up against a window, up against the fridge, that kind of thing. Now, the skill that we're able to teach with this button is the foundation skill of the nose target to another object. So we can use this button to teach the dog that pushing on something is a valuable thing to do for us. Nose touches are the foundation skill for so many tasks. And the first is alerts, right? If you want your dog to do a nose boop alert, you actually have to train them to boop something with their nose. And when you're using this, you can do that so simply because it is so valuable to them to push on this and for food to come out. Once they're able to do that, I actually put a piece of painter's tape on it and I put it on my leg and had the dog booping on my leg with this target on my leg. Because I'm using that painter's tape, I can then fade out the button and just put the tape. I even found a way that I could put this in the pocket of my capris and have them touch it through the capris with the tape on the top so that you're only changing one thing for the dog. It's just a really super efficient and fun way to teach a skill that can sometimes be pretty complicated for handler and dog. Another task that many handlers teach their service dog is to close doors and drawers. Well, we can use this foundation of being able to press the button to locate this item on the door or the drawer. So just throw a little bit of Velcro on the back, throw some Velcro on the drawer, and then you can have the dog push on this on the drawer and then slowly eliminate this target. Another task that this could be used for is the pushing of buttons. Now, there's a variety of things we might have our service dog push. The first being an accessibility button for a door, or something like an emergency call button. If you have a seizure, you fall down, something like that, and the dog can call automatically for help. This button is going to allow you to teach that skill and then generalize it to another button. And finally, it can be used to teach the dog to turn on and off lights. Now, I personally don't train a lot of pawing task behaviors with service dogs because I don't want them to scratch on your pants, scratch the wall when they're trying to turn a light on, that kind of thing. So I kind of reserve that for special cases. So I teach a lot of nose boop behavior. And for this, what I did is I set up my dog so that it was much easier for her to press it with her nose than her paw. So I want to be careful when I'm training, if that's your goal, to make it super easy for them to be successful. So for me, I put her up on a platform, on a climb, and suction cupped it to the window. So it'd be really, inconvenient for her to try to use her paw. Because a lot of dogs will use paw in frustration, and I really want to select for nose targets so I can set my dog up to be able to make those good choices. I also really like the pressure that this button requires. So it does require a little bit of pressure, but not so much that the dog is having to jam their nose in it to make it work, which is also going to be really helpful when we talk about how this is going to help us as humans. It can also teach persistence. So if they don't get it right the first time, they're going to go back in and boop it again. And we want persistence for our alerts as well as our door closing and our button presses. So it kind of naturally builds that into the training session. We want a strong boop. Speaking of boops, I would love it if you headed on down and booped that like button. Heck, you can even double boop me by going down to the comments, writing boop, and throwing in your favorite emoji for me to check out. So now let's talk about why I love a remote treater like this. If you have any mobility issues, dexterity issues, anything like that. I don't think I mentioned, I'm gonna throw the link to this down in the comments. It is an affiliate link, so if you decide to buy one and you do it through that link, it doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps out the channel. So definitely appreciate that. What a food robot like this does is it allows you to be more accurate with your treat dispensing. It makes it so you don't have to go into your treat pouch, fumble around, find your food, deliver it correctly. All of that can be challenging for many people. So this kind of helps you out when you're trying to reinforce your dog. So what might I train with something like this? Anything that's stationary to start with. So if I wanted to teach go to place, I could set this up right on the placemat and teach the dog to go to place in that way. You could also kind of advance that skill if you're having issues with your dog jumping on people at the door. You can teach them to go to place and you can feed them remotely while you're handling the person coming through the door. You can also use this as your reset cookie. So maybe you're calling your dog to you, they come and touch your hand. As soon as they touch your hand, you click the button and mark, and they go back out and get the cookie, and that sets you up for the next rep. So they're out there, you call them again, they touch your hand, you press the button, they go back out for the cookie. And it allows you to do a reset every time you feed the dog. It also works really great for remote feeding for distance behavior. So maybe you're training some obedience, you want your dog to be able to sit down and stand 10 feet away. You can set this up right next to your dog. You can stay where you are, whether that's seated in a chair or standing, and you don't want to walk back to your dog each time, or you can't for whatever reason. This is a great way to be able to remotely treat them in the position so they don't creep towards you. It's the same thing for a drop-on recall. So if you are, say, your dog's across the road, a car starts coming, you want them to be able to down or sit right where they are and not come towards you because it's dangerous, you can teach that drop-on recall by putting the reward placement behind the dog, which is going to encourage them to stop when you ask and not creep towards you because the reinforcement is actually behind them. I think there's also an application for this if you're using mobility equipment like a rollator, where you might be able to put this right on the seat of the rollator. You may have to, depending on the size of your dog, create some type of tube or other system for the food to drop into, but it could be a way for you to be able to keep both hands on your equipment and still reward your dog. Finally, this can make marking your dog's behavior super easy. So the other thing that I love about this is that it doesn't require the dexterity, say, that a clicker might. So if you have hand issues and it's not easy for you to click a button, using your fingers, you can press your palm on this. It's a pretty light trigger. So I could press my arm on it if I'm on a chair and it's on the edge of my chair. I could press it with my elbow. I could even put it under my foot and press it with my foot. There's a lot of options for being able to trigger this in the way that works best for your body. So now let's talk about the reason this seems to actually have been produced, and that's to tire out your dog's brain and body. And we can absolutely use it in that way, because when you're dealing with a disability or chronic illness, sometimes you're just tired. You've run out of spoons and your dog still needs to be exercised. So as a substitute for that day, you might be able to set this up across the room, and your dog's gonna have to run back and forth to press the button, go get their food, and you can do their entire meal that way because it takes regular kibble, it takes treats. I wouldn't put anything sticky in there, but something semi-soft would work okay. You could also use this to support other service dog goals. So maybe you're working on underfootings. You could create a little obstacle course for your dog where they're running across to touch the button, and then they run back across, some different obstacles. So they're doing some self-directed learning. It's really just another tool that you can use to increase your dog's mental and physical activity level on those days that you might not be able to get out and go for a good walk or meet their exercise needs outdoors. Now, like in all things, there's always some downsides and glitches and that kind of thing. So while I've been using this, maybe 1 out of 100 times it'll roll, but food won't come out. That's probably because the opening that I have is pretty small, because I only want a piece or two of food to come out while I'm training. You can always open that opening a little larger, or if you click it and food doesn't come out, you can just toss some food into the little container here for the dog to make sure that they're getting their reward when they press the button. Now, like I said, I only bought this a week and a half ago, but I've been having a ton of fun trying it out and using it for different applications. But of course, I didn't think of everything. So if you think this is something that you might want to use and you have ideas that I didn't cover here, I would love it if you could put them down in the comments below, and we can compile like a big list of how we can use items like this for better training, more fun with our dogs, and just like making training easier for all of us trying to train our service dogs out there. So if you can contribute down below, I would love for you to do that. And if you're not sure how to shape your dog to target something with their nose, I typically start that training with a nose to hand touch. So teaching your dog to touch their nose to your hand, and then I progress it to other objects. So if you're not sure how to shape that, I of course have a video all about that, and you can check it out right here. You all have an awesome day and happy training.